Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this episode of Rebuilding the Toyota Matrix, we're going to be putting the new engine into the engine bay. Let's get to it.
So in the last episode, you saw Chad and I pull the engine out of the Toyota Matrix. Chad had a couple of these sitting in his house. We hooked up an external battery to both of them, pulled the plugs, we tested the compression on all 4 cylinders of each motor. The one we chose, which is over here to my right, has 145 PSI of compression. And we chose to put the stronger engine into the project. And I know we promised last time that we would show you how to do the timing chain in this, and we will get to that. But first, a couple days ago, Chad and I actually worked to get not only the motor itself out of the pole part, but also back into the pole barn. We're going to show you how that looked here right now.
Here's a quick glimpse of me testing compression on this engine. Here I have the external battery hooked up to the starter, and I'm just going to let it roll over a few times to let it build up compression on one of those cylinders. And let's go ahead and take a look at it and see what it's reading here. There we go, about 140, 145.
So here's the engine that we pulled out of the pull apart. And as you can tell, we have some other things on here that you would normally see on an engine when it's in the engine bay, but with wires cut. So Chad, as we sit here and talk about this and why we've done things a certain way, we're going to start pulling watch-out connectors off that we won't need, and some miscellaneous hoses as well. But this particular engine, as we tested it, had an incredible amount of compression, especially for the age of the vehicle. I believe this one came out of a 2004, and having one with low miles in a 2004, we're going to see that this chain is not stretched, it's not skipped a beat, and it's pretty much ready to rock and roll. So that's why we opted out of putting the timing chain on this particular one, but the other one that Chad has in his garage, we're going to work on that timing chain and get that video to you as well.
Yeah, that other one that was in my garage currently, it's around like 90 to 100 PSI, which that could be honestly just a stretch change, just not lubrication in the pistons, lubricating the rings. It could be anything. So this one I know is really good. It's actually a lot cleaner than the other engine that came out of the car that I pulled it from. This one honestly looks pretty much like a rebuilt engine, and I got really lucky on this one when we went and pulled it. So yeah, this one, like Kyle said, really strong, and I think it's going to be the best candidate for this Matrix. So we're going to continue pulling off all these connectors, and then we'll get it hooked up to the engine hoist, and hopefully get it ready to go inside that engine bay.
And here's a little helpful hint as Chad's getting everything taken apart there on the starter. These extra ends that are on the engines from pull aparts, just go ahead and clip the wires. Leave yourself 3-4 inches worth of wire. You never know what you're going to run into, so it's always good to have a small piece here and there that you can lean back on.
All right, well, you went ahead and seen us pick up the engine, bring it on over here, get it all lined up and stabbed right in there. We put in a couple bell housing bolts just as soon as it got lined up, crept the bell housing together, add the starter. Those are bell housing bolts too. They actually go from the engine block to the transmission or vice versa because they both go the opposite way. But you might have noticed what we've been using to put the engine in, and this is a seat belt. While I was at the salvage yard, it's the easiest way to pull the engines so that we don't have to bring a chain. You can just grab a seat belt out of any other cars, just cut it out and tie it together, and you can maneuver the engines. They're well strong enough. At least I've never had one break or fray or anything like that. They save a life, you can probably save an engine. So we'll just go ahead and mounted everything up, and we're going to start working on the front side of this engine. Start by obviously getting the radiator hoses put back together. We'll have to get the back heater core hoses on too, and then just kind of working in reverse, kind of what we did from the last episode, just getting it all put back together. So we're going to go ahead and just start doing that and catch you after we make a little bit of progress. So I went ahead and worked on the driver's side of the engine there. You saw me put the heater core hoses on. We got a bunch of electrical connectors like temperature sensors and a relay and a few other things. Also threw over the coil pack, did the oxygen sensor on the back, looking really good. Got the front radiator hose on. That's all set. Now just gotta keep doing the front side of the engine. After the front side of the engine is done, we can probably put the air breather box on, the fuel rail, and then throw it up on those wheel carts and get it up in the air again. So let's go ahead and work on the front side of the engine and finish this up so we can keep moving. conditioner. So we put the air conditioner on, we put the alternator on, the air intake, and a few other random stuff up on the front and on the side of the engine related to the throttle body. We connected all that stuff. Let's go ahead and get a closer view of what we actually got done. All right, so as I just mentioned, air conditioner down there, done. Alternator, done. Got all the electrical connectors, including the fuel rail reattached, air intake. We got some of the hoses on the throttle body connected for the antifreeze. Also connected the throttle body and some of these side connections. The next thing we're gonna have to do is start working on the air intake box. We'll need to reinstall that and all the other connectors that connect up to it. And then after that, we are pretty much done on the top side of the engine, which is a great thing. I mean, this has gone together pretty easy overall. No big snags or anything like that, and this engine's looking really good. So let's go ahead and finish up that air breather box and finish this thing up.
Perfect.
All right, air intake is now completely in. We're ready to go ahead and put those wheel carts underneath each one of the tires and get it back onto the lift. Once we're there, we're gonna go ahead and lift it back up, and we're gonna get to all the stuff underneath the car. We got the exhaust manifold, power steering pump, and a couple bell housing bolts, torque converter bolts. So let's go ahead and get those underneath the car and get it on the lift, and we'll see you then. All right, well, we got that serpentine belt on, and it is getting very late right now. It's like 12:30 in the morning, and we just kind of want to call it a night. In the next episode, we're going to do things like the coolant, the oil filter, a few other random odds and ends that we have on the back of the glass that just kind of like maintenance items. So we'll do those first thing in the next video, and then hopefully just turn the key and it just starts up. So that's what we're really hoping for. But if this video, you liked it at all, please make sure to click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and also catch out our other videos if you haven't caught those. We got a few out here on the Matrix, and also Cutlass, a few other things. So until next time, thanks for watching.